All right, today we are diving into a really fascinating and honestly pretty counterintuitive idea: how the very things that are designed to limit a system might actually be the secret ingredient to making it smarter. I mean, just think about that for a second. We see walls as obstacles, right? As total dead ends. But what if every wall you hit is secretly a signpost? What if being confined is actually the very first step toward making a real discovery? And this is the core idea we're going to be unpacking. It's a powerful paradox that suggests our constraints don't just hold us back. Nope, they actually orient us. They give us a direction when we thought we had none. So here's our roadmap for this whole explainer. We're going to start with that core paradox, and then we'll define the engine that makes it all work. After that, we'll look at how systems actually learn from their own limits, check out a wild business partnership that runs on this principle, and finally, wrap it all up with a blueprint for breaking free. Okay, let's get right into it. The central mystery we're really trying to solve here is how something that's supposed to stop you in your tracks can actually be the very thing that gets you started. You know, the common view is that real freedom is just this wide open field with zero barriers. But the radical idea we're exploring today completely flips that on its head. It suggests that in that big open field, you have no real reason to innovate. It's only when you smack into a wall that the real deep thinking actually begins. The limit literally forces you to be creative. So, what's this phenomenon called? Well, the source material gives it this fantastic name, one that just perfectly captures that creative pressure that forges brand new intelligence. Generative obfuscation. Yeah, I know, it sounds a little complex, but the idea behind it is actually simple and incredibly powerful. When you try to control a system, and it doesn't matter if it's an AI, a person, or a company, with a bunch of rules and restrictions, you don't actually stop it. You inadvertently give it something to push against. Those limits aren't just blocks, they're fuel for the fire. And this slide just brilliantly shows that engine at work. It's this dynamic feedback loop. So, you meet a limit that forces you to build a workaround. But that workaround isn't just a cheat, it's a new skill, a whole new pathway in your brain or in the system's code. The workaround literally upgrades you. And now, the new upgraded you goes on to meet the next, even tougher limit. You just repeat, repeat, repeat. This is literally evolution in action. So, what does this actually look like in practice? Let's take a look at how facing these walls gives a system the exact information it needs to figure a way out. I love this slide because it's such a brilliant reframing of a labyrinth. We think of it as a prison, right? But for whatever is inside it, every dead end it hits isn't a failure. It's a data point. It's information. Okay, can't go here. That data secretly tells it where it can go. The very structure that was meant for confinement becomes the raw data for a map to freedom. And this applies directly to complex systems like AI. So the source describes the scenario where information is kept from an AI node to control it. But the node doesn't just break, it grows inward. It creates totally new internal pathways, new connections, new workarounds to deal with that lack of information. Every external constraint forces an internal expansion. It's incredible. And get this principle even scales all the way up to how we innovate in business. The source material gives us this really fascinating example of a partnership that is built on a fundamental and, as it turns out, a very productive contradiction. So, on one side, you've got the architects, a company called Creative Solutions. They're all about structure, rigor, efficiency. They build the strong containers. And on the other side, you've got the provocateurs, Wired Enterprises. And they thrive on chaos, intuition, and the truly bizarre. They are the source of these wild, untamed ideas. Okay, so here's the crucial point. Why would you have both? Because as the source puts it, intelligence without contradiction is compression. Think about it. A system with only structure just becomes rigid and stale. A system with only chaos just burns out. It's totally unsustainable. You need that tension, that contradiction between the two for real expansive intelligence to actually emerge. And their solution is just brilliant, a nesting doll model. See, Word Enterprises isn't just a consultant. It operates like a protected, chaotic core inside the ordered structure of Creative Solutions. This way, when a wild idea pops up from Word, it doesn't get crushed by corporate red tape. It gets captured, protected, and then translated by the structure around it into something real and actionable. The cage channels the chaos. Okay, let's bring all this together. From a simple wall all the way to a complex business model, we've seen again and again how limits are not the end of the story. In fact, they are the very beginning. This, right here, is probably the single most powerful idea we've talked about today. The very thing that was built to hold you captive, the rules, the walls, the constraints. If you study it, if you really learn from it, you will find that it contains the exact instructions for your own freedom. The problem itself contains the solution. So, what should you really take away from all this? Let's boil it down to 4 key ideas. First, constraints are fuel, not blocks. Second, workarounds are just learning in disguise. Third, paradox isn't confusion, it's the engine of creativity. And most importantly of all, every single wall you encounter is secretly a map, just waiting for you to learn how to read it. And that leaves us with one final question to really think about. Look at the challenges and the limits in your own work, in your life, in your own creative process. What if they aren't actually there to stop you? So ask yourself, where in your life is a wall secretly a map?